Hello, Matt here from Airgun Hub, and as you've seen by these little snippets before, we are going to be looking at the RWS C225. Now first off, we'll look at the box. This is an Umarex manufactured pistol, however it is licensed by RWS. There's no Umarex branding on it at all, it is all solely RWS. I'm not sure why that is, especially after the success of the CP88, 92FS, 1911, etc. in the late 90s from Umarex. They did manufacture this pistol in between all of them, and they decided to let RWS license this pistol instead of themselves. As you'll see, or as you've probably seen already, it is a copy of a SIG. I do believe it's the P225, as this is the C225. But it's got no SIG Sauer licensing on it at all. It is all RWS. Now, these were made in a very limited run, as they were manufactured between about 96, 97 and then finished in 98, 99. So there's only a 2 or 3 year production of these. I believe the short production, compared to like the CP88, which is still going now some 20 years later, the 1911 and the 92FS again, all going some 20 years later. This only had a 2 year production run. I do believe that is because it was ended up being licensed by RWS, which probably was its ultimate demise. It wasn't a replica, or it wasn't a licensed replica of any pistol at the time, which was what everyone was wanting around the late 90s. With the pistol ban coming in the UK, people were shouting out for a licensed replica that they could shoot. That obviously wasn't a real firearm, but it was as close to the real firearms that they could possibly get. And obviously with this not being licensed officially by SIG Sauer, or Umarex holding a lot of licenses at the time, I believe that was its ultimate demise. But deep down inside, everything about it is Umarex. It is an Umarex product. It's manufactured by Umarex. You'll see similar traits that Umarex use in all their pistols in this very pistol. So the box itself, as with all Umarex pistols, we'll say Umarex from now on because, like I say, it is an Umarex pistol. It does have RWS emblazed on the front. Obviously it's not SIG. Mine does have a small crack in the case there, unfortunately, that's how I got it. The clasps on this one, again, are getting quite worn, but again, it is a 20-year-old case, 20-year-old pistol, or almost 20 years old, so that can be forgiven. And then, as with all Umarex pistols, there's just a small sticker on the side. It says RWS C225, and this is the target version. It's in 4.5mm or 177, and it has got the RWS and then the Dynamite Noble. Or Noble, I think it's sorry, it is Noble, my apologies, sticker on the side. I do believe at the time they were the UK importer. I know a lot of the earlier 1911s do have the importer sticker on the front. Mine's gone totally dead now too, that is. But they were, I believe they were the importer at the time. Could be wrong. If I am wrong, please do correct me in the comments. So we'll open her up. One thing you'll first notice about this case, and I'm not sure why, I don't know if they're all like this, but unlike all the other Umarex pistols, there's no foam cutout that holds the pistol snugly in place. There's no cutout for your magazine or anything like that. It is just a foam insert on the top and bottom that holds it in place. That does unfortunately allow for a bit of movement, but I don't think it damages it that much, or there's no chance of any damage in this. So we'll just move the case out of the way, and we'll look at the pistol itself. Now, unfortunately, one embarrassing thing I've noticed straight away is I have changed these screws out, as you can see, for nice stainless ones to match the nickel finish in the extension there. But I have forgot the bottom one. Now I have got the screws at home. I did run out when I changed these. I've just totally forgotten about getting around to changing that one. So yeah, that's embarrassing. Anyway, as we first do, we'll look at the writing on the side of these pistols. Obviously it's the target version, so there's a great big target emblazed on the extension on here. It's got RWS Mod C225, obviously it's licensed by RWS, and it is the Mod C225 model. The grips, I've got the RWS logo on, not the SIG. Obviously, as you can see, this does replicate a SIG. I believe it is the P225. Could be wrong again. Same again on this side, RWS logo on the grips. If we can see on what it would be the ejector port there, it says COW 4.5mm. Made in Germany. It does have Dynamit Noble on the side, Troisdorf. And maybe I was wrong about the Dynamit Noble being the importer of them. Someone might be able to correct me. It's got a serial number on the bottom there. And then it's got target again. So, look at the functionality of this pistol. It has got magazine, or what would be where you empty your magazine. It slides the slide forward so you can empty your magazine. On the real firearm, I believe this would be the slide release. Obviously when you're out of ammunition, you reload, drop that, and that slides you slide forward again. So they do use the Umarex rotary magazine. Again, this is where the similarities lie with the Umarex pistol. Like I say, deep down it is an Umarex pistol. It uses the rotary magazine, 8-shot rotary magazine that we see in all the other Umarex pistols, the 1911, the 92FS, CP88, etc. It does have the rotary teeth on the front. To load, it is a case of literally just dropping it in with, may I add, the teeth toward the back to help it index, push forward, and it's loaded and ready to go. There isn't a safety on this. I believe that would be the safety on the real firearm. This is non-functioning, nor is there anything on this side. It does have a working decocker, so when the gun is, or the air pistol is cocked, that decocks the pistol like that. One thing I've noticed, and I haven't tried it with a pellet in, obviously because I haven't had any safe location to sort of point it while I've not really had a chance to check it, is when this is cocked, if it is loaded with CO2 and you do decock it, it does disperse CO2. Now if that is loaded, obviously that could potentially fire a pellet. Now obviously I haven't tried it loaded. It has been with either an empty magazine or no magazine in it at all. Moving on, what would be the magazine release on the real firearm actually allows for the side grip to come off, which is where you load your CO2. And again, another similarity with all the Umarex pistols, it uses the same arm, the same screw. Your CO2 drops in, tighten the screw up, and then to finally pierce the seal, you push up like that. The grip is then obviously replaced. Mine does have a small crack in the grip there, unfortunately. The grips itself are plastic, although they are very, very grippy. The checkering on these are really, really good. They do feel a little bit cheap. Obviously that sound size hollow, but that's a given just because of the CO2 cavity. The trigger itself, I mean, I've got really small hands, so I do kind of struggle with this. My finger only just reaches the trigger itself and allows me to put the pad of my finger on the trigger. It is very long, but that's the same with all Umarex pistols that are being used in double action. Obviously the first half of it indexes the magazine and the last half is the release. It can be used in single action as well, so you can cock and pull. Obviously you'll see when the hammer is cocked, if you look at the trigger, that takes up that first stage, which is what would be the indexing stage, and allows you just to have a real lighter, crisper pull off for firing. And that is actually really, really light. There's not much in it at all. The sights on these are the standard sights. There is no white dot or anything like that. They are adjustable for windage but not for elevation. Same with the front, it's just a small blade. These can be changed out for match sights. You can get match sights for these that are adjustable for windage and elevation, but they can set you back about 40 or 50 pounds. So obviously you can see it's the target version. It has got the barrel extension compared to the normal version. That would obviously cut off there and you'd have what would be a normal size SIG. But then this has got the target version as well. It does have, if you can see that, let's try and get to focus, a larger internal barrel as well. So it is a 6-inch internal barrel instead of the standard 4. That is the same on the CP88 as well. It uses the same barrel extension as the CP88 as such. It can be easily removed. You just drop an Allen key down there. There is a little screw. If you unscrew it, take the 2 screws off that side, that comes away. But obviously having a 6-inch barrel in this as well, that leaves you exposed with an internal longer barrel, so I'd advise keeping that on really. unless you can find a smaller barrel to replace it with, then that'd be ideal. Overall, it's a very, very solid pistol. There is a lot of weight behind it. It is one of the more accurate Umarex pistols, which is a disappointment really, in the fact that it was only made for 2 years, 3 years, because ultimately it is a very, very good pistol. It shoots really, really well. As you saw from the clip at the start, its groupings are absolutely fantastic, especially at 6 yards. Like I say, maybe it was distributed or licensed by Umarex, who maybe could have acquired or do have the SIG Sauer licensing. This could have been all branded up with SIG Sauer markings, and maybe it'll still be around today, some 20 years later. I know there is a newer version of this. It's the Hammerli, or Hammerli, is it? I think it's pronounced the Hammerli, which is an Umarex product. It is identical to this. It uses all the same internals, the same magazine, everything, but it's distributed or licensed by Hammerli, and it is an Umarex product. That has been around a lot longer. I think it's discontinued now. Again, I could be wrong. If anyone does know, please correct me in the comments. But they do that in the nickel and a normal version, and that has been around some years now, and it seems to have done a lot better than this. This also was distributed as the Rec Police back in the late 90s as well. That didn't seem to last so long. I can't remember if that was an RWS model as well, or an RWS license. It might have been the Rec Police, but there was a Rec Police version that again only lasted a couple of years, and instead of saying RWS Mod C225 on the side, it did say Rec Police. But ultimately it's a fantastic gun. It shoots really well. It's got a lot of weight behind it. It doesn't have a working safety, unfortunately, which I'd like to see, but you know, if you like your SIG Sauer type pistols, it's fantastic if you can find one of these, you know, because they weren't made for a very long period of time. They weren't made in large quantities. They're a little bit harder to find. They can be picked up for between 100 and 150, depending on what you get. The normal black version without the target barrel extension on, you know, you can get for 90, 100 pounds, and you know, these target ones in nickel can fetch 150. If you can find one, you know, I would advise getting one, because they're a good shooter. Compared to the CP88 and the 92FS, which, don't get me wrong, are fantastic shooters, these shoot really, really, really well. But yeah, there you go. The RWS C225 target. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do share it. Add a comment, say hello, let me know what you think. If there was any information this wasn't possibly wrong, let me know. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.